The Nigerian military has just delivered what can only be described as a devastating and unprecedented blow to the very lifeblood of the Boko Haram and Islamic State West Africa Province terrorist networks operating in the northeastern region of the country. In a highly coordinated, intelligence-driven operation that has completely shifted the momentum of the 17-year insurgency, our gallant troops have successfully intercepted the largest terrorist logistics convoy ever recorded in the history of the Borno State conflict. For years, security analysts and military experts have consistently argued that the most effective way to completely defeat these insurgent groups is not just by fighting them on the battlefield, but by entirely cutting off their supply chains. A terrorist without food, without medical supplies, and without the raw materials to create explosive devices is a terrorist who has already lost the war. This massive interception is a monumental victory for the armed forces of Nigeria and a major sigh of relief for the resilient citizens of Borno State, who have endured unimaginable hardships. When we talk about the largest logistics convoy ever intercepted, we are looking at a massive movement of illicit cargo that was meticulously designed to sustain thousands of fighters for several months. Military intelligence sources indicate that the seized convoy contained an overwhelming quantity of essential items, ranging from hundreds of bags of staple foods, high-grade pharmaceutical drugs, and surgical equipment to thousands of liters of smuggled premium motor spirit tightly concealed in heavy-duty containers. More alarmingly, the troops discovered massive quantities of dual-use chemicals and fertilizers, which are the primary ingredients used by these terrorists to manufacture the deadly improvised explosive devices that have caused so much sorrow across the country. The capture of this convoy means that countless planned attacks have just been completely neutralized before they even began. You can imagine the absolute panic and desperation currently spreading through the terrorist camps right now. Their fighters are hungry, their wounded commanders cannot get medical treatment, and their vehicles are completely out of fuel. This brilliant operation was not a coincidence. It was the result of weeks of intense aerial surveillance, community intelligence gathering, and the incredible bravery of our frontline troops participating in Operation Hadin Kai. They laid a perfect ambush, waiting patiently under the harsh weather conditions of the northeast, and struck exactly when the smugglers felt they had successfully bypassed the major military checkpoints. To fully grasp why this massive logistics bust is happening right now, we must connect it to the broader, deeply troubling security events that have plagued Borno State over the past few weeks. The month of March 2026 has been incredibly tense and heartbreaking for the nation. Just recently, on the 16th of March, the city of Maiduguri was rocked by multiple devastating explosions at highly populated locations, including the post office flyover, the Maiduguri Monday Market, and the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital. Those cowardly attacks, which tragically claimed 23 innocent lives and left over 100 people severely injured, were a clear sign of a desperate terrorist organization trying to create panic. Furthermore, our troops have been engaged in incredibly fierce battles in areas like Malam Fatori, where insurgents even attempted to use armed drones to breach military defensive positions, as well as in Pulka and Mandaragirao. The military has been applying unprecedented pressure on these terrorist strongholds, launching massive ground and air offensives that have eliminated over 60 senior commanders and foot soldiers in recent weeks alone. Because the military is heavily bombarding their camps, the terrorists are rapidly burning through their supplies and ammunition. They ordered this massive logistics convoy out of sheer desperation, needing an emergency resupply just to survive the intense military onslaught. By intercepting this convoy, the Nigerian military has effectively closed the trap on them, leaving them with nowhere to run and nothing to survive on. The psychological impact of this major interception on the civilian population of Borno State cannot be overstated. For the resilient people under the leadership of Governor Babagana Umara Zulum, who have repeatedly faced the horrors of sudden attacks and heartbreaking losses, this military victory provides a massive boost of confidence. It shows that the intelligence gathering mechanisms are finally working and that the military is heavily proactive rather than just reacting after an attack has occurred. However, the authorities are strongly advising the public to remain highly vigilant. As these terrorist groups find themselves starved of essential supplies, there is a very high probability that they will attempt to launch desperate, isolated attacks on soft targets or small farming communities just to steal food and medicines. The state government and the military are heavily expanding their security cordons around rural markets and major supply routes to ensure that no further illicit goods slip through the cracks. The international community is also closely watching these developments, with recent joint efforts and intelligence sharing between Nigerian forces and international partners. The sophisticated tracking of terrorist movements has heavily improved. The next few weeks will be absolutely critical. The military is expected to launch massive clearance operations deep into the insurgent territories, taking full advantage of the fact that the enemy is currently weak, starving, and completely disorganized. We are witnessing a decisive moment in the history of the Northeast, a moment where the total collapse of the insurgent logistics network could finally lead to the complete restoration of peace and stability in a region that has suffered for too long. We will remain firmly on the ground, monitoring every single statement from the defense headquarters, every new arrest, and every military advancement to ensure you get the complete, unvarnished truth as the story develops. Thank you for staying with us. Please remember to keep the brave men and women of the Nigerian Armed Forces in your thoughts and drop your opinions in the comment section below on how you think the government should punish these arrested terrorist suppliers.